It's kind of breathtaking to come from the initial design and initial pre-production aspects of ideas of what story we want to tell. And at the end, you see it all come together as this complete experience.
Steph Yoon.
It's kind of funny because technically Koresh is not on Azeroth. It's not really like building Azeroth. You're more like building the World of Warcraft. Anyway, I don't know. You also have the cosmic chart right behind her here, a fucking huge one, which, you know, I like to see that in the background.
Assistant lead quest designer here on the Warcraft team. Ghost of Koresh is the latest major content update for the War Within, and here we're going to be helping Illyria and her ethereal and broker friends as they try to stop the Void Lord Dimensius from devouring Koresh and then pretty much the rest of Azeroth and everything that we know. Koresh is a name that we've heard before in World of Warcraft. We first heard about it in Netherstorm when we met the Ethereals, and they told us about their home world.
Bro, not gonna lie, their ecodomes there kind of look like shit. The new design is so much better. I'd probably ought to go back and check it out, though.
About it in Netherstorm when we met the Ethereals, and they told us about their home world. They had to face Dimensius, the Void Lord, as he came to their world, and Dimensius destroyed the planet. So when we get there, hundreds of thousands of years later, Koresh is just this broken shard of a planet, and we are just trying to see what we can salvage out of this terrible situation.
Ecological succession is a feature coming in the Ghosts of Koresh content update. I'm Paul Cox and I'm senior content designer. In ecological succession, you help Venari and Omtalad try to recreate the ecological system of Koresh. Now, when Koresh was destroyed, they only had so much time to gather as many creatures as they could, so many of the creatures that used to exist don't anymore. They're just gone. You, in many ways, try to help them sort of rehabilitate the creatures that were put into stasis and also find creatures that would fit the same ecological niche of creatures that had died. It brings you to old places in Azeroth to sort of get things that have been identified as a creature that could fit one of those.
God, that was such an annoying quest, dude. Oh my God, the bee quest line was so annoying.
So when you go to one of these locations to get a creature, there'll often be a small quest line there. You might meet someone that you've met in the past. You might need to solve a problem, but in many ways...
Wait a second. Bro, the Shadowlands is a planet. I'm telling you, dude, it was a planet. It was a planet. It's just like Draenor if all of the zones were split apart and floating apart from each other. It was a planet. I'm telling you, dude, it was a planet. It's just another world tethered to ours. And it just doesn't look like one because it's all broken into pieces. Unbelievable.
Meet someone that you've met in the past, you might need to solve a problem, but in many ways you're gathering these creatures in some way, shape or form. Some in a more traditional manner and some in a slightly less mad science.
Is a bee's only purpose to fall?
Traditional manner. Some of the help that we'll be getting for ecological succession is from experts in the sort of animal fields. You'll be recruiting a botanist, a wildlife expert, and a smell expert.
Who the fuck was the wildlife expert? Who the fuck is that?
Is
that Nessingwary or whatever the fuck? Is that who that is? Hammett? Oh, God.
Life expert and a smell expert. I'm sure smell expert is the real name for that sort of thing. I'm really excited for people to build up the ecodome over time. As you do these quests, you get more and more creatures in the ecodome, so you take it from an empty ecodome to a full ecodome over the course of the whole thing. I'm just showing you now what the sort of starting state of the ecodome is. You can see there are creatures around. These slate-backs are one of the original creatures from Koresh that they managed to put into stasis, and that's pretty much all that is here right now.
It is also interesting how the primary means by which they through which they transfer things is, or preserve them, of course, is by putting them in stasis.
Interesting. So you've got these slate backs You've got these little lap bugs over here. Lap bugs are the sort of Koresh version of dogs. They were often kept as pets. And then we've got these regal...
Wait, what? These things are the Koresh version of dogs?
Koresh version of dogs.
They just had these little fucking things running around in their house. Can I pet that dog? Can I pet that dog?
They were often kept as pets. And then we've got these regal thorntails that were also a native creature. But you can see that it's a fairly sparsely populated ecodome. And then this, what I'm showing you now, is sort of like what it'll look like towards the end. So you can see there are a lot more creatures going on here.
Well, I mean, I only see one additional creature, and it's the flying glow spore thing, whatever they're called, the manta rays. I don't really see anything else that's new. So I see more slate-backs and thorntails or whatever, and some more water strider dog things, but I don't really. I mean, and then manta rays, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Hopefully it ends up being more than that. I mean, they added bees. There's no bees here, so we get the bees.
Koresh tells a story of more than just the planet, but it tells a story of the resilience of their culture and their future and how we're going to help them restore their planet. My name is Danny Merrithew. I'm the lead quest designer on WoW. When I played back in Burning Crusade, the Netherstorm area was one of my favorite zones. I loved it. It was absolutely gorgeous, and I always wanted to learn more about the Ethereals. So I'm excited for players to actually be able to learn more about them too and see where Koresh actually is. With the outdoor game loop, one of the first things the player is going to receive is the Rishi wraps. And that is basically what's going to allow them to get into phase diving, which takes you into an alternative phase.
No cake? Listen, the Ethereals might be energy, but if they just learn to focus it in the right places, they could maybe still be caked up. All right? But I hear what you're saying. The ultimate sadness of the Koreshi is, you know, they ain't got nothing to grab onto, you know?
You are becoming an ethereal. You are taking on their energy form, and you're going into a phase in between Koresh and a different world. Went through a lot of iterations. You know, we decided, we were like, we need this to feel like a different space. So we ended up talking to the art team and figuring out what can we do here. So they ended up giving us lighting changes and environmental changes that really make phase diving stand out. One of the other things was the screen effect on phase diving. We figured out that that is probably one of the most important things to communicate that.
In a different world? Yeah, I heard them say that. Like phase spaces between, maybe in, you know, a shade of it between worlds or something, you know? Because this is a space that is meant to inhabit the bridge or gap between energy phases.
In a different environment now, so we took a lot of care to make sure that that looked right and fit the culture. The way that we really feel that it feels right is we do a lot of internal play testing, but we also
just restructured it.
Other teams as well.
And I think it's a good thing.
We work with games user research, and they actually connect with players. So players are able to tell us how they feel about what we're building, what sort of things do they like, what don't they like, what things should we be looking at to change. And that really strong partnership between us and those teams help us be able to reflect the player voice in our game. And we partner very closely with the rewards team. They're the ones that built the cloak and that progression and the renown progression and whatnot in the game. So we come up with the gameplay ideas.
Oh, I didn't realize that the name of that reward tier is a fucking Khajiit reference. Shadanis has wares if you have coin. Nice.
We come up with the gameplay ideas and we run it by them, and they come up with the progression, and we kind of meet in the middle.
My inventory, I've been testing this a lot, so we have a lot of cloaks and a lot of our sockets here, and these are the ones we can swap out. So the first time we upgrade, it's gonna look like this. I'm Alejandro Grossman, a senior rewards designer on the WoW team. So the Rishi wraps are an artifact cloak players can collect in the Ghost of Koresh content update. You get the Rishi wraps, you collect a bunch of these ribbons, and they coalesce into this cloak, which is what you start wearing. And as you continue along the campaign, eventually you learn, with the help of Hashim, how to harness the ethereal energies of Koresh.
I can't wait to unlock more of them so that
you're going to be able
you get like
to
the wraps
upgrade
down
and
your
power
arms.
as you play along with the campaign, and this will unlock all sorts of fun things such as enhanced features and even some cosmetics at the end that really tie in with the cloak. The effects
Hell
of
yeah.
the Rishi Wrap change depending on your role. If you're a tank, they're going to give you a shield so that you can sustain more damage. If you're a healer, it's going to assist you in shielding some players around you, and if you're a DPS, it's just going to create arcane explosions at your target. Players can expect their usual activities such as Mythic Plus, raiding, some of the outdoor activities to grant them ethereal strands, which can then be used to empower the cloak's energies. And it is thanks to Legion Remix and their re-implementation of the artifact weapons that we were able to use a lot of that tech on the Rishi Wraps, because they needed some special edge cases that were really handy and really applied to what we were doing here. I think this is a very different approach to progression that we've normally had. It's much more in line of whatever you do, you're gonna get the ethereal strands. It's very
That's nice, yeah.
straightforward in its progression. I'm very excited to see how players respond to it, and hopefully this really just feels like a boon, and it still feels like you're progressing it and you're
Fuck you,
earning it
Kai'Veza.
without really having to feel that you need to do certain things to be up to speed the whole time.
Hi, I'm Katrina Yepes. I'm an encounter designer on the World of Warcraft team. I was the outdoor point for Ghosts of Koresh. It's an opportunity to really collaborate and connect with other designers on the team. You're kind of stepping into their storylines and their quest lines, delivering on that fantasy and what the quest designer wants, what is fun for the player. There's two main factions of ethereals out in the wastelands of Koresh. When designing the Wastelanders, I think we wanted to lean more on the archetypes of hunters and more shamanistic ideas. They're very rooted in the natural occurrence of creatures and their homeworld. Whereas the Shadow Guard, they're stepping in to take over. So their ability kits lean more militaristic. They have a true army, they have warriors, they have established support units. We have the native creatures of Koresh, and we'll see a lot of those in the ecodomes. And lots of invading creatures because of Demensia's devouring. A lot of void creatures are swarming in from the Voidlands. So you'll see.
Oh my God, she called it the Voidlands. Oh my God. Can we not? Can we please just call it the Void? Like, the Voidlands? The Voidlands, bro. Okay. It's the reason why it bothers me, Chad, is just I feel like it's just so fucking lazy. Like, you're just gonna take the cosmic power and throw lands behind it? Like, we can't do any better than that? I don't know, dude. It seems so stupid. It just seems like you have fire lands, and then you have Deep Home, which is way cooler, and then you have Sky Wall, which, by the way, Sky Wall? What the fuck is that name? Wall? Hello? Anyways, and then you have the Abyssal Maw, like, and then you have the Voidlands. Like, oh my God. The Cradle and even Rootlands, the Dream, even those are better than things like the Lifelands. So then when I hear them say the Voidlands, it's like, oh my God, is that really where we're going with this? Like, what do you call? I love the meme. What about the Plane of Earth? Instead of the Deep Home, they should have just called it Lands. Like, what the fuck? What are we doing here?
A dragon world boss stepping in named Reshinor. Reshinor is a really unique creature in that they exist in both phases. So a really cool, unique hook we did for the world boss is you'll be able to phase dive to chase after him and do extra damage on him. And then when Reshinor's energy gets low, as
That's a
you can
sick
see,
keyboard, dude.
he's gonna retreat to go find some arcane to feed on. So you're gonna have to go chase him down, and you can chase him down faster with your phase diving cloak. So he'll take off here. So you'll go ahead and click your
Ass
phase
fight, by the way. It's pretty annoying, dude.
warp. And now you're in untethered space. and now you'll be able to hit Reshinor again.
Yeah.
My main responsibility with the phase diving was offering harder mode creatures. So there's a
I
lot
will
of
say killing it on day 2 was better.
of mini bosses within the outdoor space, new rares to explore, creatures that were more complex in difficulty. There's a lot of little cute one-off, unique storylines. One I can think about that I'm really excited about. His name is Chowder.
Yeah,
He's a
I
little
saw.
rare that you may see running across the dunes of Koresh. And he's actually an escaped Krog who was being transported to Koresh through TWSS. So he's not native to Koresh. The way I work as
She just like loves this. She's just giggling about it like
a point, I walk into a zone and view a point of interest that a quest designer or
got like a
content
little
designer
ribbon.
has set up. And in this one instance with Chowder, he's there running across the dunes and he has this cute little bow on his fang. And I was like, I know exactly what kind of abilities he needs. He's gonna thrash about and he's gonna charge at you. You better dodge that or he'll knock you up. Yeah, and of course, he's gonna kiss us roughly. I think we know when we got it right when the room lights up. You know, our team will sit down to play test and experience the content for ourselves. And if everyone's smiles are lit up and everyone's having fun.
Dude, they have like every WoW book ever made. Every game guide, every magazine, everything on that wall behind them. Damn, that's fucking sick, dude. That is sick. They have everything. I mean, they should.
And if everyone's smiles are lit up and everyone's having fun, I think we know we did the right thing.
I am Abigail Barber, and I am an encounter designer. In Ghosts of Koresh, I was one of many encounter designers on the new dungeon, Ito Dome Aldani. In encounter design, we focus a lot of storytelling, a lot in the creatures, their names, how they are presented to you, how they attack you, even something as simple as how they approach you when you attack them. It gives us a lot of opportunity to tell a lot.
Wow, that's pretty important. Let's hear that again.
We focus a lot of storytelling, a lot in the creatures, their names, how they are presented to you, how they attack you, even something.
So all that stuff matters for the story. They do a lot of like visual storytelling. Names matter. Dave Kosak told me that too, that names, loot, the names of loot matters. Like it matters. They don't just do it randomly.
As simple as how they approach.
So things like the naming schemes of tier sets could very well actually be like hints for things to come.
You when you attack them. It gives us a lot of opportunity to tell a lot. Something I would say is the most new thing about this dungeon is just like the Wastelanders as a culture. This is Koresh, this is their homeland. This is the first time we are seeing the Wastelanders as a culture. And we've seen ethereals, but we haven't seen these ethereals before. To bring the dungeon to life, we do a lot of collaboration with a lot of other teams on the WoW team, and we all have pieces of like a puzzle. Every opportunity with people and characters is a time to tell a story. And even the smallest details help us fill in those gaps and help us finish that puzzle. We talked with art and they help us a lot say like, how do we want to present the story? Just the way we prop up the environment, the way we add weather effects, lighting, it all contributes to the mood, you know, the feeling of the dungeon. We work a lot with quest and narrative, and in this dungeon particularly, it's the epilogue dungeon. So we did a lot of working with quest and narrative to tell the story, to make sure that when you go through Ghosts of Koresh, you go through the campaign, you go through the raid, and then this is your ultimate capstone moment where everything comes together and everything you witnessed, you now see how it all culminates into this final experience at the end.
Why did you make it available immediately though? And why do you hone in on it's the capstone, the culmination, and here you are fucking zooming in on it. Like,
There's hundreds of game developers who worked on Ghost of Koresh in this content update. None of
Azeroth
this would be
workshop
possible.
/ shipyard.
There's hundreds of game developers.
I mean, you
who
can't really
worked
see much
on
of it. I mean, they technically have workshops and shipyards in Merildar, so in Halifal, so.
Ghost of Koresh.
But it's Arathor. Not Arathi. Not Halifal, not Merildar. Arathor.
In this content update. None of this would be possible if we weren't constantly communicating and collaborating together. I think Ghost of Koresh is unmissable because of so many twists and turns in the story, so much ramifications for what's coming in the future, such a unique environment for players to explore, and the raid is killer. I love
The raid
so
is
many of the
fucking
raid
sick.
encounters. I can't wait to get in there and fail at Mythic, honestly.
Yeah, the raid is fucking sick, dude. The raid has been nothing but fucking dope, in my opinion, so far. Yeah, good videos, man. Glad I watched those. Thanks for sharing.